The white SUV came barreling down the dirt road like it had a personal vendetta, tires spitting gravel as it skidded to a halt inches from my brand new, private property, an HOA jurisdiction sign. Before I could even step back, Regina Hawthorne exploded out of the driver's seat, her perfectly coiffed blonde hair not moving an inch in the wind, like even nature obeyed her rules. "You think you can just ignore the covenants and ruin our property values with this eyesore?" she snarled, pointing a manicured finger like it was a loaded weapon. I wiped my hands on my jeans, the smell of fresh paint still clinging to the steel post. "Morning, Mrs. Hawthorne. You're standing on the wrong side of the line." The words came out calm, almost bored, but inside I was already cataloging every twitch of her pearl necklace. 15 years as president of Willow Creek Estates, and she still thought the world ended at her pastel picket fences. She laughed, that brittle high society laugh that sounded like breaking crystal. "There is no your side, Mr. Caldwell. This entire approach falls under our aesthetic standards. I've been enforcing harmony here since before you even dreamed of moving out here with your rustic barn." Her nose wrinkled like my barn had personally insulted her grandmother's china. Behind her, the manicured lawns of Willow Creek stretched like a Stepford smile, every blade of grass the exact HOA-approved shade of subtle compliance. I let the silence stretch just long enough for her perfume, something called eau d'entitlement, I swear, to waft over. "County map says otherwise. Certified last month. 50 feet outside your little kingdom." I tapped the laminated survey pinned to the gate. The red boundary line glowed like a middle finger to bureaucracy. Her nostrils flared so wide I could have parked a golf cart in them. "Then you can explain that to my attorney. $200 a day per violation starting now. That sign, that gate color, that attitude, all coming down." She slammed her door so hard the SUV rocked, then peeled out in a cloud of dust that settled on my boots like cheap regret. I stood there until the dust vanished, one hand resting on the sign like an old friend. This wasn't some impulse buy. I'd spent 6 months dissecting county records, zoning maps, and every HOA covenant I could download. My last place? A beige nightmare where they fined me $70 because my trash can lid flirted with being ajar on a windy Tuesday. Here, freedom tasted like fresh air and zero committee approvals. I installed the cameras that morning, not out of paranoia, but because I'd learned peace is just paperwork with better lighting. My phone buzzed before lunch. Subject: Urgent violation notice, Willow Creek Estates, HOA 7 bullet points of pure fiction. Unauthorized signage visible from the road, non-approved gate matte black instead of soothing taupe, fence height threatening visual harmony, and my personal favorite, failure to pay annual dues on land that wasn't even theirs. Signed with a flourish. Regina Hawthorne, President, Guardian of Suburban Bliss. I forwarded it to my attorney with 3 words. She knew. Then I sat at my kitchen table, spreading the county certification like a winning hand in poker. Let her play queen. I play the man who keeps receipts. Tuesday night the war went digital. My old coworker texted screenshots from the Willow Creek Community Watch Group, 3,400 members strong, mostly retired folks with too much time and too little self-awareness. Regina's post sat at the top like a royal decree. "Neighbors, a concerning new resident adjacent to our eastern boundary is refusing community standards. Industrial gate, aggressive signage, complete disregard for the harmony we've sacrificed for. The board is exploring legal options to protect our home values." 47 comments below, each one a masterpiece of mob justice. Typical outsider ruining everything. Sue him into next Tuesday. Only 2 brave souls typed maybe check the maps? Before getting ratioed into oblivion. I didn't comment. Instead I opened a new spreadsheet titled Regina's Greatest Hits. Column A date. Column B lie. Column C evidence. I linked the video of her SUV tantrum, 6 angles crystal clear audio of her calling my fence aesthetic terrorism. By midnight the file was encrypted, backed up 3 ways, and I was smiling into my coffee. She was building a lynch mob. I was building a cage. Thursday the doorbell, well, the gate intercom rang like a death knell. On the camera feed, Regina in full battle pearls, flanked by 2 clipboard-carrying minions in matching polos. Mr. Caldwell, open up for a routine architectural review, she chirped, all sugar and venom. Section 4.7 gives us access to anything impacting community standards. I pressed the talk button, voice flat as Kansas. Section 4.7 doesn't apply when you're standing on County Road, Regina. This is private property. Cross the line and you're trespassing. One minion cleared his throat. Ma'am, maybe we should. Quiet, Harold, she hissed, then grabbed the gate bars and rattled them like a caged Karen on bath salts. This is ridiculous. You can't hide behind some piece of paper and pretend you're above the rules that keep our neighborhood beautiful. I hit record on the intercom app. 10 seconds before I call the sheriff. Clock's ticking. She kept shaking. The minions looked like they wanted to melt into the gravel. When the cruiser rolled up 15 minutes later, Deputy Morales stepped out, took one look at the scene, and sighed the sigh of a man who'd seen too many HOA wars. Regina launched into her Oscar speech about protecting property values and visual integrity. Morales listened, then asked for my folder. I handed it over, the laminated map, the certified letter, everything. He read for 30 seconds, then turned to her. Ma'am, these records show his parcel is 50 feet outside Willow Creek jurisdiction. You're on private land after being asked to leave. That's trespassing. Her face went the color of a bad sunburn. The county map is wrong. I know the assessor personally. Take it up with them, Morales said calmly. Right now, step back or I write the citation. The minions scattered like roaches in daylight. Regina stood frozen another beat, then spun on her heel, heels grinding gravel like she was crushing dreams. As her SUV roared away, Morales tipped his hat. Keep those cameras rolling, Mr. Caldwell. Paperwork beats pearls every time. The dust had barely settled when my phone rang. County Zoning Office. Officer Delgado's voice was crisp and professional. Mr. Caldwell, we reviewed your complaint and the footage. Turns out Mrs. Hawthorne submitted a boundary expansion proposal last year to swallow your parcel and 2 others. Claimed owner consent. We denied it in writing 6 months ago. She was informed, certified mail. I stared at the phone like it had just confessed to murder. So she knew. Every step of the way, Delgado said. I'll email the denial letter with the county seal today. Keep documenting. People like her don't stop until the mirror cracks. That letter arrived Friday like a golden ticket to payback. I scanned it 6 times, then added it to the spreadsheet under Exhibit A. She knew. The weekend passed in quiet preparation. More backups, more timestamps. I even laminated the denial letter because why not? Boundaries deserve protection too. Monday brought the cease and desist from her husband's law firm. Thick paper, gold embossing, the works. Remove all non-compliant structures or face $50,000 in damages for aesthetic depreciation and emotional distress to the community. Emotional distress. I laughed so hard my coffee went up my nose. I marked it up in red pen like a teacher grading the dumbest essay ever. Jurisdiction. Evidence of damages. Authority. Then I mailed my reply certified. Property confirmed outside HOA. Further contact will be logged as harassment. But the real gut punch came Wednesday at a neutral coffee shop. Marcus Hale, quiet guy from inside Willow Creek, slid a thick binder across the table. I've kept everything for 3 years, he said, voice tired. Page 1. A $200 daily fine for an oak tree his grandfather planted in 1979. She called it a sightline violation. I paid $3,000 before I cut it down. She sent a thank you card for maintaining consistency. I flipped through horror after horror. A single mom fined for parking during a snowstorm. A retiree cited because his mailbox was beige adjacent instead of approved taupe. Every page stamped with the same pattern: intimidation, escalation, submission. She tried to annex your land because you're the one who got away, Marcus whispered. You represent what she can't control. He handed me a flash drive. Everything's on here. County reopened her cases after your complaint. You're not the first. You're just the first who fought back with better paperwork. I copied the files that night, creating a new section, Historical Pattern of HOA Abuse. The binder sat on my table like a loaded gun. Regina wasn't enforcing rules. She was feeding an addiction dressed up as community standards. And I had the receipts to prove it. The email hit at sunset. Emergency HOA meeting tonight. Urgent legal action. Invited. I almost laughed. My attorney warned me not to go. I went anyway, body cam rolling, laptop under my arm. The community center was packed. 40 folding chairs, fluorescent lights buzzing like angry bees. Regina stood at the front in full queen mode, projector ready, notes stacked like indictments. When I walked in, the whispers hit like a wave. That's him. The troublemaker. Regina's smile froze. You're not a member. You don't belong. Mitchell, the vice president, stood. If this is about him, he gets to speak. She waved a hand like swatting a fly. Fine. But I go first. Her presentation was a masterpiece of fiction. Photos of my gate blown up like crime scenes. Captions screaming hostile structures threatening harmony. The crowd murmured approval. Then she clicked to the cropped photo of our first confrontation. This man refuses reasonable communication. He's lowered our property values. We must act. I stood slowly. May I present my side for the record? She snapped. This is my floor. Mitchell sighed. I think we should hear him, Regina. She stepped back, arms crossed, smug as ever. I plugged in my laptop. The room went dead silent as the first video played. Regina rattling my gate like a toddler denied candy, screaming about standards while her minions looked mortified. Gasps rippled. Next clip. Her SUV creeping up at night, bat in hand, 3 perfect swings at my mailbox. Someone actually whispered, "Oh my God." The final clip sealed it. The sheriff calmly explaining she had zero jurisdiction while she demanded his supervisor. When the screen went black, I turned to the board. Everything timestamped, backed by county records. I didn't come to destroy anyone. I came to stop the pattern. Marcus stood first. She fined me $3,000 for a tree older than the HOA. A woman rose next. She cited my daughter for parking in our own driveway during chemo. Voice after voice joined, stories of mailbox police, grass-length Gestapo, aesthetic violations that bankrupted retirees. The room shifted like tectonic plates. Regina's face drained of color. These are isolated incidents. No, Mitchell said quietly. These are consistent. He looked at the other board members. I move for a vote of no confidence in President Hawthorne. Seconded instantly. 8 hands went up. Regina's husband in the back row just stared at the floor. She gathered her notes with shaking hands. You're making a terrible mistake. I built this neighborhood. Mitchell's reply was gentle but final. You built a prison. We're tearing down the walls. She walked out, heels clicking like a fading dictatorship. No applause. Just the sweet, heavy silence of truth finally winning. 3 days later, the county report dropped. 12 pages of devastation. Over 3 years, Regina had issued $47,000 in unauthorized fines, conducted illegal inspections, and funneled HOA funds into personal legal battles. The recommendation: full restitution, leadership overhaul, and new transparency rules or face state oversight. Mitchell emailed the same afternoon. On behalf of the reformed board, we apologize. We're refunding everyone and changing everything: mandatory votes on fines, public audits, written permission for inspections. Thank you for holding us accountable. I typed back one line. Just wanted to be left alone. Glad the neighborhood finally agrees. The personal check from Regina's husband arrived next. Enough to cover the mailbox and then some. For everything, he said when he handed it over at the gate, shoulders slumped. She's in therapy now. Boundary anxiety, they call it. I should have stopped her years ago. I took the check but told him I'd donate it to the local domestic violence shelter. People trapped by control they didn't ask for deserve help too. He nodded, a sad half-smile breaking through. She finally sees what she became. Thanks to you. By Saturday, the neighborhood started healing in small, awkward ways. A group showed up at my gate with cookies and nervous smiles, the same people who'd called me that outsider online 2 weeks earlier. We were wrong, one woman admitted. We let her bully us for years because it was easier than speaking up. They stayed an hour, admiring the horses, asking real questions instead of quoting covenants. Before leaving, one guy clapped my shoulder. You did what we were all too scared to do. The new HOA newsletter arrived at midnight, tone completely flipped. Rebuilding trust through transparency. Every resident deserves respect, not fear. No names. No blame. Just a community remembering how to breathe. 3 months later, I was on the porch with coffee when a beige sedan slowed on the county road. Regina stepped out, no pearls this time, just a simple blouse and eyes that actually looked tired instead of entitled. She stopped at the gate, hands in pockets. I'm not here to fight. I just needed to say it in person. I waited. I'm sorry, she said, voice cracking for the first time I'd ever heard. For the harassment, the lies, the way I treated your property like it was mine to control. My therapist says I used rules to keep the world from changing. All I did was make everyone smaller. She wiped her eyes. You standing your ground, it forced me to look in the mirror. Thank you for that, even if I hated every second. I stepped closer to the bars, not out of fear, but because some boundaries still matter. Boundaries aren't walls, Regina. They're definitions of respect. That's all I ever wanted. She nodded, a small broken smile appearing. Too late for me to fix everything, but I know now. She turned to leave, then paused. I'm glad you didn't sell. This place looks peaceful. As her car disappeared down the road, the air felt lighter than it had in months. Forgiveness didn't erase the cameras or the spreadsheets. It just meant the story could finally close. That afternoon, the new president dropped off an invitation to the community picnic. I went not for revenge but for closure. Kids laughed on swings. Neighbors waved. Someone handed me pie like the war had never happened. Mitchell gave a short speech. Rules mean nothing without respect. One man's courage to document the truth changed everything. He didn't name me. He didn't need to. Tonight I sit on the same porch, same coffee, same view. The gate camera blinks steady under the stars. Not a guard anymore. Just a quiet heartbeat reminding me peace is earned, not given. The horses graze beyond the fence, and for the first time the silence isn't defensive. It's earned. I opened my old spreadsheet one last time and typed the final line. Matter resolved. Boundaries defined. Peace achieved. And if you've ever been fined for the color of your own damn mailbox or told your piece needed committee approval, tell me in the comments. Because here's the real question. Was Regina Hawthorne the villain? Or was it the broken HOA system that handed one woman a crown and zero accountability for 15 years? Did I go too far with the cameras and the spreadsheets? Or was quiet documentation the only weapon that could stop a suburban dictator? Who's really in the wrong here? You decide.